not go anywhere because I've got the tickets that line up to get there.
That's true.
This is the mash tun, a container where we mix together the purest Scottish water with our grist from the mill. The sugar in the mixture is dissolved, producing a sweet liquid known as wort. The wort is then cooled, ready for the next stage. The residue left in the mash tun can be used to make animal feed. The wort might not look that special, but let me assure you, this will become pure liquid gold.
The photograph of the That's Dr. Who's
So what, I hear you ask, is the one magical ingredient which helps turn a malty, sugary wort into something with, well, let's say, a wee bit more of a kick to it? Well, the answer is right here. This is yeast. The importance of this microscopic yet explosive living organism simply cannot be underestimated. Amazing!
You ever drink whiskey again though that there's all those blobs in it?
Magic.
And this is where the magic truly begins. This is the washback, where yeast meets wort and sugar turns to alcohol in a process known as fermentation. A heaving maelstrom of heat and foam. And if the whole thing threatens to get out of hand and overspill, don't switch your blades above, or keep the whole thing in check. And don't be taking too deep a breath in here, by the way. The vapours produced can flare pack a punch.
It's for the tourists, isn't it?
I thought it was beer that they made for cat spits.
The alcohol content at this point is still too low and needs to be increased. We do this during distillation. Now, pay attention. The liquid is heated in a pot still, and because alcohol boils at a lower temperature, it separates from the water. The vapour rises up the neck and is cooled and condensed back into a liquid by a copper coil immersed in cold water, known as the worm. Here we see the cooling and condensing process in action. The liquid is now known as low wine. But it needs to be distilled again to further increase its alcohol content. And that takes place here, in the spirit still. Each distillery has its own unique shape of copper pot still. Another factor in ensuring that each distillery produces its own unique flavour of Scotch whisky. By now, the liquid is so strong, it has to be kept under lock and key by customs and excise. Here in the spirit safe, the still man weaves his magic by judging precisely when to send the first part of the run, or 4 shots, and the last part of the run, or faint, back to be distilled again. Meanwhile, the middle cut, or heart of the run, is sent to the spirit receiver. But it's still not Scotch whisky. Oh no, not for a long while yet. These casks won't see the light of day for at least 3 years. Some not for 12 or even 50 years. During this period of maturation, a whisky's unique final flavour is further enhanced by the wood of the cask that it's stored in. Its clear colour changed to a golden hue. What was once nothing more than barley and water magically matures into Scotch whisky. Ah, the sweet smell of evaporating whisky. up to 2% each year just disappears. The angels share, they call it. Ah well, I'm away to join the angels myself. Slanjava.
Comfortable, we're about to begin the next part of your tour. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the Scottish Whisky Experience. My name is Gavin, and today I'll be your tour guide as we delve a little deeper into the fantastic world that is Scotch whisky. Now, so far today on the tour, you've been on the barrel ride, learning about the production of our single malt Scotch whisky, learning the ingredients, the production itself, and in the maturation, the time the whisky will rest in the cask can all influence character and flavour of our whisky. But there is one other thing that can do that as well, and that is Scotland. The geography and the weather combine together to make regional differences, and today we're going to explore that and the characteristics that they can give you in the whiskies. So the 5 regions are as follows. First of all, we've got the Lowlands, the Highlands, Speyside, Campbelltown, and then finally Islay. Now, as you came in today, I gave you one of these aroma cards. As we go through our journey of Scotland, telling you about the region and all about the whiskies, I will give you a little note to smell with these cards at certain areas. So each of these regions is represented by a typical aroma that you may find in characters of those whiskies. Please note, these are heavily exaggerated, and we'll use them a bit later on to pick a whisky. There is one exception, and I'll cover that later too. Now we're going to start here in the beautiful lowlands of Scotland, going from north of the English border to this imaginary line from the Firth of Clyde in the west to the Firth of Tay over in the east. Now, as the name might suggest, the lowlands are not mountainous. Nice and flat, very rich, fertile and nutritious soil, it makes it a wonderful region for farming. And we do grow a lot of barley for the whisky industry. Along with these rolling fields, we have lovely hills, famous golf courses, estuaries, and 2 of our major cities. To the west, we find the city of Glasgow. It's a very vibrant and cosmopolitan city with its industrial heritage. Over to the east, you find the city of Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland. The sites of the castle, the Royal Mile, Holyrood Park and Palace, and the spectacular views of Arthur's Seat. In August, we have the Fringe Festival and the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. We also have these wonderful structures, the Forth Bridges, the Queensway Crossing, the Forth Road Bridge, and the Forth Hill Bridge. This connects the Lowlands to the Highlands, and this year in March it will celebrate its 128th birthday. Now, the whiskies in the Lowlands are often referred to as breakfast jams. So light and mild, you can have them with your cornflakes, aromas of toast, cereals, oaty biscuits, and often citrus fruits can come through as well. So with your aroma cards, if you smell the yellow section for the Lowlands, you'll have a wonderful grapefruit or citrus aroma. Now, next up from the Lowlands, we're heading northward into the expansive Highland region. This takes in all of this landmass and all of the islands, with the exception of Islay. We begin in Inverness, the capital of the Highlands. Close by, we have Loch Ness, home to the Loch Ness Monster. Now, as the name might suggest, the Highlands are very mountainous. Spectacular mountain ranges, hills, glens, valleys, and waterfalls leading to the iconic freshwater lochs. But our whisky here in the Highlands are also very different in style to your lowland single malts. They're far more complex and robust, keeping with that fantastic backdrop. But here in the Highlands we have a few structures as well. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you may recognise Glenfinnan Viaduct. And this is the often photographed Eildon Castle near Skye. But every summer we see a transformation of the region, this carpet of floral heather, and that can influence some character to those Highland whiskies. Now, characteristics that we often associate to Highland whiskies are honey, nuts, floral notes, and often a little touch of peat smoke as well. So the purple section on your aroma card, if you smell that out, you'll have a lovely floral heather aroma. Now, our third stop today, we're heading to the region known as Speyside. Situated between Inverness and Aberdeen, geographically it is up in the Highlands, but we call it its own region as it houses around half of all our distilleries. Now, as you know from the barrel ride, there are 3 vital ingredients for the production of our single malt whisky: barley, yeast, and water. Now, one of the key features of Speyside is the glorious River Spey. The Spey runs at 36 miles per hour, which makes it the fastest flowing river in Scotland. And coming from an ice cap high in the mountains, It filters over ancient granite, making it very soft and pure, with a very low mineral content. But the Spey Valley is very green and luscious and beautiful, with lots of forestry, and of course, lots of distilleries. And you can spot them here in Speyside, thanks to the iconic cupola rooftops pinpointing each distillery. But with around half of all distilleries working in the region, we need a lot of casks to mature their whiskies. The cooperage building the barrels here in Speyside build on average a staggering 150,000 per year, and they're done by hand the traditional way. Now, characters of Speyside single malts, they tend to be a little bit mild and mellow in character, but you will find notes of exotic fruits, aromas of pineapples, pears, apples, bananas, and dried fruits. So the blue section on your card for Speyside, if you smell that now, will have a lovely pear aroma. But we now leave the Highlands and Speyside behind, head southwest to Campbelltown. Now, Campbelltown is around 100 miles from Edinburgh as the crow flies across the map. But to get there, we're facing a drive of over 200 miles, and that is thanks to those long winding country roads. The region itself sits on the Kintyre Peninsula, and the Gulf Stream does run relatively close by, meaning the weather in Campbelltown is often milder than other areas of Scotland. But at one point this was the whisky capital of Scotland, over 30 working distilleries. Today it's far more modest with only 3. But this area did thrive with American Prohibition. 1920 to 1933, we illegally exported whisky from Campbelltown to America, and we used the fishing fleet. But that drew to a close on the 5th of December 1933, it had a direct impact on Campbelltown and its distilleries. Those 3 that do remain, they cling on to their maritime past, working with the fishing fleet, and it's said that the casks which breathe in the sea air here in Campbelltown do tend to take a little touch of that sea salt with them to every bottle. So of course you find a little touch of sea salt often on those whiskies. Other characters of sweet vanilla, salted caramel, toffee, and apple notes. So the main section, if you smell that now on your cards, for Campbelltown, you'll have a sweet vanilla aroma. And our final stop today, we're heading over to this little island known as Islay. Now, Islay is the 5th largest island in Scotland, with a population of 3,500 people and 8 working distilleries. The island itself juts into the North Atlantic, and over the years the sea has battered this coastline and carving it as we see it today. One of the main towns we have here on the island is known as O'More. As we see it here this afternoon, you notice it has a round church. They built it this way so the devil had no corners to hide in. They're very superstitious. Now here on Islay we have an abundance of this material known as peat, and we use that in the production to dry the barley. But when using peat, we do get a smoky style of whisky, as the smoke will directly infuse to the barley. So we do see the whiskies here on Islay are certainly not for the faint-hearted. Now you'll also find some wonderful wildlife. Those amazing coastlines carved in the North Atlantic, and some of the best sunsets on the west coast of Scotland. A perfect place to enjoy a drab. Now the characters of Islay whiskies tend to be a little stronger. Notes of cigars and tobacco, seaweed, ivy, medicinal notes, and peat smoke can come through too. So if you smell the red section on your cards, for Islay you find that burning wood smoke aroma. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are the 5 regions of Scotland and how we get different characteristics depending where our whisky is produced. As I said in my introduction, the cards here exaggerate all of those aromas with the exception of one, and that is Islay. Everything you smell here are exactly as you find your Islay whiskies. But we're going to head through in just a second and make sure the room is available for us. We're going to discuss exclusively about single malt Scotch whisky, the ingredients, the production, distillation. That's coming for you as well, folks. Don't worry.
So that was the Scottish Whisky Experience. I hope you enjoyed it. It was quite a long video, but as always, leave a comment down below and hit that like button. On another point, the Through My Eyes Maryland Baltimore video will be out tomorrow at 6 PM. So if you want to see that, hit that subscribe button and the wee notification bell, and I will catch you in the next one. And as always, keep it real, hunt the thrill, and see you later.